Something just changed in Huntley, Illinois, and it tells us a lot about where this community is heading. A piece of land that could have become more than 400 homes is instead being turned into over 150 acres of park and recreation. That project is called Project Horizon, and it sits just south of Kreutzer Road. At first glance, this might sound like a typical park expansion, but the decision behind it actually tells us something much bigger about where Huntley is heading as a community.
Back in August of 2025, the Village of Huntley acquired about 153 acres of land on the south side of Kreutzer Road. Originally, the land had been planned for a 430-home residential subdivision. Instead of moving forward with that development, the village made a different decision. They transferred roughly 145 acres to the Huntley Park District and sold another 7.6 acres to the Park District for about $1 million. That effectively turned land that could have become hundreds of homes into permanent recreational space. Then, in January of 2026, the project moved forward when the Park District secured a $600,000 open space land acquisition and development grant from the state of Illinois. That funding officially launched phase 1 of what's now called Project Horizon. The first phase will focus on trails and nature-based recreational amenities, with longer-term plans potentially including larger recreational facilities.
What makes this interesting isn't just the park. It's what the decision says about how Huntley is choosing to grow. For the last 20 years, Huntley has been in a growth phase. Like many suburbs in this corridor, the strategy was fairly simple. Add new neighborhoods, expand the residential base, and grow the tax base. That supports schools, infrastructure, and services. But Project Horizon suggests Huntley may be entering a different phase. Instead of focusing on how many rooftops can be built, the village appears to be focusing more on quality of life and long-term community identity. And choosing parks over 430 homes is a very clear signal of that shift.
Think about the trade-off here. If those 430 homes had been built, it would have meant more traffic along Kreutzer Road, more demand on local infrastructure, and potentially more pressure on School District 158. By preserving this land as recreational space, the village is choosing a different long-term outcome. And this wasn't something one organization did alone. This project required coordination between the Village of Huntley and the Huntley Park District, along with support from the state of Illinois through the OSLAD grant program. That kind of coordination usually happens when a community is thinking not just about the next development cycle, but about the next 20 years.
And this is where the decision becomes especially important for people who already live in Huntley. For homeowners in Huntley, projects like this tend to create a few ripple effects. First, infrastructure relief. If those homes had been built, that really could mean hundreds of additional daily vehicle trips on Kreutzer Road. Preserving the land as recreational space helps avoid that pressure. Second is something planners sometimes call an amenity effect. Homes near parks, trails, and protected green space often experience stronger long-term stability and property values than homes near high-density development. In this case, neighborhoods like Sun City, Huntley, and Talamore will now sit closer to a permanent recreational corridor rather than future construction. And third, the funding structure matters because a portion of this project is supported by state grants and previously approved funding. Residents are gaining a major community amenity without an immediate special assessment tied specifically to this project.
For buyers considering Huntley, this project also sends an important signal. First, removing 430 homes from the potential housing pipeline means less future new construction supply in that price range. Over time, that can tighten inventory in nearby neighborhoods. Second, projects like this strengthen Huntley's lifestyle positioning. When relocators compare towns like Huntley, Crystal Lake, or Algonquin, they're not just comparing homes. They're comparing the overall living environment. Trails, parks, recreation space, and long-term planning all play a role in that decision. Projects like Project Horizon help move Huntley toward what planners often call a full life cycle community, a place where people can move, raise families, retire, and stay long-term.
Stepping back, Project Horizon may represent something larger than a single park expansion. It suggests that Huntley is repositioning itself. Instead of acting like a growth stage suburb chasing every possible development opportunity, the village appears to be transitioning into a more mature, amenity-focused community, a place that values open space, recreation, and long-term livability just as much as population growth. That doesn't mean Huntley will stop growing, but it does suggest that growth may become more selective and more strategic. And communities that make that transition thoughtfully often remain desirable for decades.
For longtime residents of Huntley, this project may feel like a confirmation of something many people already value about the town. Not just growth, but balance. Project Horizon is still in its early stages, but choosing 153 acres of green space instead of 430 homes may end up being one of the more defining planning decisions Huntley makes in this generation. And it will likely shape how the community grows for many years to come.